Well, I got me a new bottle of gas, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish putting this in here, putting this in. Hopefully I'll be able to get this dash hung today, but just a matter of working. We got this brace in. It's set the same as the car. I was able to tack it up into these forward cowl braces. It's welded good here into the door frame. So that made it all pretty strong. I don't know whether I'll put one more brace up in here. I think I'll leave this alone for now until I figure out where my master cylinder is going to go and everything else. But instead of taking it to the corner, I got two of them here, one on each side, and that's riveted into the main frame up here. So I think I'm good here. Feels really strong. I can't even tweak it, you know. That much 1 inch I could pull on it and I could feel a little flex in it, but not anymore because I'm like a foot and a half and a foot, you know, so it's braced in 3 places real good enough. And I still have a bolt hole here, I think. Yep, I could do something with these 2 bolt holes, mount something there. So now I'll get back to trying to put this dash in. Well, getting this dash mocked up is a problem. Got it where it's about a 1/2 inch over here, a little less here. And what I did was clamp a bolt under the bracket there, and I've got probably I got almost weld a bolt right there, because this is going down, like maybe 1/4 of an inch down. This is about the same, and I'll be sticking up just a little right here in the top. So I think that's probably about as good as I'm going to get it. This dash is turned around backwards, but I was just trying to see where the bolt's going to go and have it hang. So I think I've got it about right. I'm going to turn it around now and make sure that this sticks out far enough to go through the dash. I'll have to make a spacer here to come and hold the correct distance away from the cowl. Let me see if I can't figure that out. Well, that took a little doing. I've got about 1/2 inch over here, less than 1/2 here. I can't really move it too much. These bolts break if I try to bend them, but got it clearing the dash here, right at the bottom of the edge there, almost the bottom here. It'll move a little because the bolts are a little smaller than the dash. But that's where it goes. The boy, it needs to be moved over some. I got about an inch here, and then I'll have nothing here. Well, you need to move it over about the width of a bolt. It's kind of hard getting just that much of it in. And dash is interesting. This bottom piece tilts forward or back towards the driver when the top part's vertical, so it makes it easier to see your gauges. Well, I've got to move it. I got an inch over here. Not so much there. I think the width of a bolt will do it. I'll try to move one and see what happens. Well, that took forever, but I got it in. I've got it tightened up. Of course, there's no spacers in there, so it's just pressing against itself. It's not very strong at all, but it's in the center. I've got it symmetrical. Looks all right. It doesn't quite match that curve. See, the corner over there is down about 1/4 of an inch. It's up about 1/8 in the middle, and I got it down about 1/4 here. It's centered more or less. And it's vertical. I haven't checked how vertical or anything, but just by looking at it, showing you the ground here. What do we got here? I can't tell. It looks like that's around 90. So it's pretty much straight up and down. Looks like it by eye. And the car more or less is up and down. Might be tilted down a little bit in front. Kind of got some good news about this transmission. Went to get some gas today, argon. Then there's a little transmission shop there, and I stopped and got to talking to him, and asked him what he would charge me to where's here? Don't know what I've got here. Oh, there we are. Anyway, I asked him what he would charge me to go through 727, and of course, you know, he wanted $1,000, and I told him I had all the parts and everything, and I just it was a little out of my price range. Oh, look over here what I got. And I went over there and opened up his garage. He had like a 68 Camaro that was all done and needed paint. He had I think it was a 64 Ford pickup that he put big block and fender well headers, and he needed his clutch pedal hooked up and some other stuff. Trying to find you a good place for my little speech. And make a long story short, he had, oh, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 cars back in there. His whole front parking lot was littered with little race cars, little Japanese stuff, and pretty nice guy. And so I told him, I said, well, you know, $1,000, that's kind of steep for transmission when I got all the parts and everything else, you know. He goes, well, maybe we could work out a deal. So it looks like he wants me to put a steering box in that old Ford pickup for him in exchange for rebuilding my transmission. Pretty cool. But anyway, the guy's got at least 10 nice projects over there. Like I said, a Camaro, he's got a Firebird, he's got a Buick Skylark of some sort. All of them in about half to 3/4 done shape. So I'll go have you another video of putting together a steering box on a Ford, and got to put a steering column in it and the steering box, and it doesn't have a hydraulic clutch, and he's got his master cylinder hooked up to a piece of tin foil. You know, I just could move it with my hand. I told him, I said, that won't work, you know. Why not? And I said, it won't. Don't worry about why. You got to put something strong in there. And I said, I got a good clutch and brake pedal over here. You know, I says, I got 2 of them. I actually only have 1, but anyway, it was nice to, and it's right next door to where I get my argon. So looks like found myself a buddy and somebody to trade labor with, and I'd much rather put, you know, weld in a steering box and sort all that out than pay a guy $1,000, you know. Of course, if I was to weld in a steering box and sort it all out, I'd want $1,000, you know. But when it's just labor for labor, man, you know, everybody's time costs the same, you know. You only got so many hours on earth, and you can either burn them up crying, you know, or you can spend them doing something. You can spend them for money, or you can spend them for helping somebody, but you only got so much time, you know. Bodies wear out. They just wear out, you know. Look at mine, you know. It's been used hard and put away wet many a time. But anyway, just a kind of a note on the project, that it looks like this transmission will be a new rebuilt one. You know, it looks real good, but I'll pull it out, wire brush it real good, polish it. You know, I ain't gonna go crazy with it or anything, but just make it look real nice. And got all new guts for it. I was just gonna rebuild it best I could, but I'd rather take it to a transmission guy that knows what he's doing and go through it completely. And that way, whenever if I keep the car, I know it's got a dependable transmission. If I sell it, same thing. I know that it's got a rebuilt transmission and it's never going to fail. So anyway, I don't know how this led into this dash, but it did. So dash is in. Now I still have to make the braces and stuff on the sides. It's got some slots right in here, 2 slots. I think I could just put a little piece of angle iron, weld it right in there, and put a couple little bolts on it, weld that, and then I can just bolt it on and it'll pull right off. So that dash will be looking good. I stick the gauges in it just for the fun of it. Well, there's the gauges in. Nicest part of the whole car is amps, and looks like it's got 90 on the speedometer, so it'll do 100, or it used to be. Oil pressure and water temperature. It's in real good shape. Looked like it had 16,000 miles on it, but it's going to make the whole car look nice, you know. It's all going to be kind of rough, you know, rat rod bob welds all over it. But the little gauge will give it a touch of class. I've got a nice little curve here that I can, it's pretty obvious. I got a real straight shot down there to my steering column. I need to start mocking that up. I've got a big old Chevy column. I don't know if I want to try to put it in or find something else. Guess I could put it up in there and see what it's going to do. But it's starting to take on the flavor of a car now. I'll just have to, now this, all the bracing is done here. I can get in here and mock up this firewall. You can see how the back of the gauges are. It won't be any trouble at all to mount the edge of that dash over there with something. And look like it might even have lights in it that work. Who knows? By the time I get done with it, they'll work. I got enough room up under here to definitely put a fuse box and a wiring harness, and so we're just moving along slowly.